everyone, I'm Professor Clark and this is my first try at doing one of these presentations as well. I want to welcome you to the class, I guess face to face as much as possible. And the article that I'm doing for you guys is the one about collaboration. It's Virtuality and Collaboration in Teams by Miss Gibson. Now the reason I moved this module up to the front is because the online class experience that we're having is a virtual experience. So I wanted to move the section of articles about communication and communicating virtually to the beginning, so hopefully we can learn some things that will help us have a more real experience as we go through this. Now Miss Gibson in this article, she starts off talking about what is different about a virtual team versus what I call a real team, the normal team in a setting. And there are four things that she says that makes a team a virtual team. One is you have to have electronic dependence, that the teams are more spread out across the globe or different locations throughout a country, that you have more cultural diversity in your teams, and that the structure is dynamic. Now I want you to think about that a little bit. Do you buy that definition that she gives us? That there are four things different about a virtual team from a regular team. I don't know that I totally buy that. I do think the one thing that makes them different is their degree of dependence on electronic means for communication. Now that used to be just the telephone, but look at our telephones here today. I just got a BlackBerry and my husband says I'm obsessed with it because I'm checking it all the time. But it's amazing how you can pull up your email and it buzzes me when I get a new email. And the things that I can do on the internet. And I know a lot of you guys have had these for a while. But it's amazing how we can be so connected and get information just at our fingertips, whereas before that wasn't possible. So do you buy what she says, that a virtual team is so different from a regular team? Let's step back. What is a team? Now my definition I like to use for a team is a very simple one. It takes more than one person, so it's two or more people working towards the achievement of a goal. Now we're talking about in the workplace, they're working towards the achievement of a work goal. So adding virtual to the front of it, what does that change? Well, for me, all it really changes is that the communication that takes place there is different and you're connected differently through technology. But she lays out for us a nice, I guess, model of what the whole process of what impacts the workings of a virtual team. Now I will say, if this model kind of freaked you out a little bit as you're going through it, like, whoa, this is a little bit more that I can handle, I want you in these articles not to try to understand every little bit and piece of them. I want you to get the main points and try to pull out what's helpful to you. Because what we're doing is we're taking these concepts from these articles and we're trying to take away from it things that will help us as managers and things that I think will help us too as employees, the other side of the puzzle. So in this model, she has a set of design factors here. These are things that you would put in place, things that you can change from the get-go as you're setting up a virtual team that will have an impact on the ultimate outcomes of that team. Now these things here that she talks about is no different than a regular team, and I think they're very helpful things to think about when if you were asked to pull together a team, to look at these things and see how well you have done them. So what these factors are is the context, the team structure, how are you going to use technology, the people on the team, and the process by which folks are going to communicate, make decisions, resolve conflicts as they come up. And she also says, so you've got the things you put in place to set it up, and then you've also got some factors she calls enabling factors. These are things that come in play that are going to impact the degree of success you have, that the team will have in reaching the ultimate goal of the team. So if you were pulled together to plan a party for the end of the year at your organization, right? Your goal then is to plan a particular kind of party. You pull people together on that team, so what are the things that get in the way of how well you're going to work together? One of those things she says is your degree of trust with the members on the team. Also, your shared understanding. Are y'all all on board understanding what you need to achieve? And how well y'all coordinate your efforts over time. Those are the three enabling factors that she puts in place in this model. Now the little background noise are my kids, so this is not a perfect process, but Ashley, who's 5, did pretty well so far. Nathan's still staying over there, who is 8, is doing much better. So we have these enabling factors that impact the outcomes that the team has. And there can be business outcomes, did you reach the goal of the team? There can also be what she calls human outcomes. What's your attitude about working together? How closely did you work together? Did you have a lot of cohesion? And such things as that. But I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time going through the details of the article. They are there for you. What I took away from this article, and what I hope you will refer back to this article from time to time for, are the tips that she provides. She does spell out some things in each of these different categories of how to make communication better, and she spells out tips of how to make trust better. So I do think that that's useful to go through and look at that. I also think it's useful for this class to go ahead and look at those things to see what can we do, whether you're in your smaller team for the presentation or the bigger team of the class as a whole, so we communicate better and we achieve our goal of successfully going through this material and walking away with a better understanding of organizational concepts. Now there are some questions though that the article leaves me with that I want you to think about. Should virtual teams be used in all situations? Are there times when they could be more detrimental for an organization than helpful? What are the trade-offs of using virtual teams? Think about this online class, for example. I shared at the beginning in my news opening welcome to you guys that this is one of my favorite classes. The reason for that is I love the discussion that we have on the ground class, where we can talk about things and you share an idea and somebody else jumps on it and it just goes from there. How do we achieve that in this online setting to the same degree? Maybe we're not able to the same degree, but maybe we get something else in return. For example, in your discussion board, there were 160 plus posts at this time. I don't know that folks talk to each other that much in my face-to-face class within that first week. So I think there are things to discover that don't happen when we're face-to-face, and I think we lose a few things when we're not face-to-face. So what are those trade-offs? Also think about, are there impacts on the culture of the organization? And we will talk more about organizational culture, but you should have had it in your Principles of Management class. From communicating virtually a whole bunch, are there some long-term impacts? Are you able to pass along the culture in the same way? And I think those are questions that haven't been answered yet. Also, I have 2 bigger questions I want you to think about. Communicating virtually, that can happen. Communicating and working simultaneously. There is technology out there that lets us, whether it's the chat rooms or some of the virtual tools that let you, the blogs, you can post something and somebody can change it. Wikipedia is an example of that, where you can be on there at the same time and create a work product. And then you've also got virtual work and communication that happens piecemeal. I put a question, 5 hours later somebody responds, 30 minutes later someone reads it. So it's kind of this disjointed process, but it allows people to go away and work on things and come back together. Does all that make a difference? Is one way better than the other? I now want you to go, there's 2, if you look on the PowerPoint slide, there's 2 clips to YouTube that deals with Cisco commercials. And Cisco is a company that has done a lot to create technology to support collaboration virtually. I want you to watch both of those. And as you do, I want you to think about what kind of communication is taking place in those situations. That they are allowing the simultaneous communication to occur, or if is it taking place piecemeal and does that make a difference? And when you get done with that, I want you to come back and click on part 2 of my presentation, and I will finish. See you in a bit.